We're going to be focusing on communication styles. And we're probably going to hear me repeat myself, and hopefully that's okay. Reason why we're addressing communication styles is a lot of things going on in our daily life that's constantly changing. And it's good to reflect back and to see how we are currently utilizing our style of communication. Things has changed. The way that we're talking to people has been changed. The way we've been interacting has been changed. So moving forward, I'm gonna play this video for you. If you have any questions, just let me know. With you, but this is a pre-recorded session. That being said, today what you can expect in today's workshop is that we're going to be focusing on 5 different communication styles. What we can recognize is that in the past 8 to 10 weeks, communication style is huge. Communication is expected to be utilized in many format. We're expected to talk to your computer. We're expected to communicate with each other through text messages, through direct messages, to online communication. Any social media format we can recognize that style has constantly transitioned from back and forth from either passive, aggressive, assertive. We ourselves constantly are transitioning back and forth. And today we're going to kind of touch bases on it and kind of see what is appropriate, what is not appropriate, what is something we have recognized within our own self that we have been struggling with. Okay? So what is communication? Communication is a form of exchanging information or news. It's very similar to conveying, reporting, imparting, presenting. So yeah, like I said, back nowadays, technology is now our new way of communication. So we're now on a phone call on a daily basis. We're now utilizing the computer on a daily basis. So it's important to recognize and see how we are communicating, okay? So there's 3 kinds of communication. There's the verbal communication, there's nonverbal communication, there's a written format of communication. So verbal is stating things coming out of your mouth, right? Nonverbal is body language, eye contact, posture. You can show dominance or passiveness by slouching, or even just writing. Writing things out. That's typically nowadays the most common approach to communication, especially through email or text messages or direct messages. Those are our most common way nowadays to talk to each other. And it's something that we should be more in tune to, because the way we write things can be conveyed as too aggressive. The way we write things can be come off as too passive, because confidence it's hard to display, or dominance is hard to display through text format. Today we're going to touch about these bases on that, okay? So in this image, right, I have a picture of a guy and a lady and how they're able to process certain thought process. And I love how they're conveying what their vision seeing, what they see from each other, how one person has a megaphone and one person has a speaker box. And there's something that they themselves are constantly reading off each other's body language, constantly reading off each other's verbal communication. And you can see that I'm speaking with my hands, and that's something that gesture comes off. It helps too when it says, how interactive are you? How intuitive are you? How are you able to connect with a person when speaking to each other? Personally, when I speak with my hands, it helps me feel more at ease. And when people feel more at ease, they're able to speak more calmly. They're able to speak with more confidence. And then they're able to get their messages across without making someone feel less than. All right. So these are the 5. This is just a very short gist of it, but I want us to kind of touch bases on this to see what we're preparing ourselves for today's presentation. So as you can see, we're focusing on assertiveness, aggressiveness, passive-aggressive, submissiveness, and manipulation. So manipulative. I have a hard time saying that word, so I'm going to say manipulation, so I apologize. So to achieve the goals without hurting other people, which is assertiveness, being emotionally expressive, protecting your own rights and rights of other people, so you're able to connect with that person and see what they're coming from. Speak with a balanced volume. We'll give more examples moving forward, but this is something where it's this sweet spot, right in the middle, right? So you're not belittling anyone. You're right in the middle. It's perfect. Aggressive can be out to win mentality. It can be very hostile. It can be very dominant posture. It can be leaning forward. it could, speak loudly, passive aggressive, compliant, being sulky, sweet, innocent, but it's a persona. It's like a fake, almost two-facing. A lot of times people say this person is wearing a mask. We're going to touch more bases on that moving forward. Submissiveness, denying that there's a problem, typically more of a power differential, like a child or someone working under a boss, avoid confrontation, lack of expression, they speak very softly, and manipulation, cunning, controlling, they cause a lot of issue for any group party. So what is assertiveness? Being assertive demonstrates high self-esteem. Oop, go back, I apologize. High self-esteem as a communicator style, and both balanced and effective way to serve communicators are very confident and they're able to balance the need to achieve the need to respect the other views of others. However, they don't always get what they want. They're able to compromise and they're able to work with other people to gain a commonality and a common goal. Surprisingly, this is the most unutilized approach because it takes energy, it takes time, it takes a full, clear thought process to convey a message to someone or to receive the message and then redirect that message back to that person. It requires energy, and let's be honest here, our energy level has not been the same, and it takes a lot of thought process. Okay. So how can I simplify assertiveness for my audience today? So utilizing I statements, communicate respectfully to other people, listen to well without interrupting, making good eye, speak calm, clear tone of voice, feeling relaxed, connect with other people, feeling confident in control, do not allow others to abuse the conversation or manipulate them, and they stand up for their rights. Very simple format of looking at this. So some examples I want to utilize is that, let's say if you are trying to study for an exam and your colleague or your friend or your roommate, whoever you're studying with, starts watching music video or watching TV, how can you assertively assert yourself to this person? You say, hey, please, could you please turn the volume down? I'm trying to study at this time. It's really important for me to study. I'm trying to concentrate. It comes off of, you notice how my tone of voice was very calm. It wasn't too aggressive. It was straight to the point. It was trying to convey a message, and it was not belittling anyone. It was just recognizing there's an issue. Can you, compromise with me so that I can focus on my studies? So people who are recipient of assertiveness, they feel like they connect with that person. They feel like they can trust that person and do the right thing. They respect that person. They both feel equally entitled to express themselves. With that person who is watching music videos, say, oh, I'm so sorry. Watching music video has kept me calm down. Okay, could we figure a way where you can still watch music video and me having, allowing value where I can still study. Having that clear message from either side. Assertive communication is very effective and it's healthy, and it helps build self-esteem for both party and an individual. Okay. So aggressive communication. This style is about winning and often winning at someone else's expense. And on this image on your right-hand side, you see this person just talking down on the person. And when you talk down on the person, you can definitely see that it's unlikely that the message is effective. It makes the other person feel less than. But I also want to note that as of lately, we can recognize that aggressive tone has been often more utilized nowadays because it's more common for us to see, because people feel like their message and the morality and their ideology needs to be expressed in a certain way. And that's okay. But I want to focus on the goodness of aggressive communication, because nowadays we're expected to take immediate action, and sometimes aggressive tone is appropriate. Like for example, when immediate action is necessary, when it comes to a safety or legal issue, it's okay to use aggressive tone to get their message across, especially if the recipient is struggling to do something safe for themselves. Oftentimes we see law enforcement being very aggressive and I use that term loosely, aggressive as in trying to say, hey, stop there, please don't come any closer, this is a crime scene. Things like that where they raise their voice, they're very direct, and they're trying to let the person know, please don't cross my boundaries. And that's appropriate. This is something where they're trying to protect the individual and they're trying to protect themselves. And this is when the issue is more important than the relationship. And that's why it's so important to recognize that aggressive tone is not always a bad thing, because it can be utilized appropriately. But we also can note that aggressive tone is majority of the time not appropriate. So I just want to convey that. All right. So when aggressive communicator will A, try to dominate the other people, use humiliation to control others, criticize, blame, attack other people, can be very impulsive. They speak out loud, demanding, overbearing voice, act threatening and rudely, will not listen well. They interrupt you frequently, say you statements, stating you're the problem, you're the issue, you're not listening, I can't help you. Things like that where it's, I'm going to do it my way because you're not helping me. Things like that where it comes off as very degrading. They can alienate themselves from other people and alienate other people from themselves too. They generate fear and hatred towards others. They always blame others instead of owning their own issue, thus causing them to be able to mature as a person. This causes a lot of problems for, I guess, our natural surroundings, because this happens quite often. To be honest, it's more predominant in our life because we hear the aggressive tone not utilized appropriately, and something that we can recognize within our own family, we can recognize within our own friend group. It happens frequently. Okay. And I think later on, moving forward, at the end of around the last 5-10 minutes of the presentation, there's a way for us to kind of modify and adjust our aggressive tone, because the reality is we do need to be assertive, but then there's too much dominance, and that's the issue when it comes to play, when it comes to become an aggressive communicator. So when you are the recipient of the aggressive tone, you feel pressure to agree with the person, and that stinks. And I know that stinks because you feel like you can't say no, and you have to comply, and you feel almost kind of like you're bullied. You get really defensive, you feel withdrawn from the fight, you're uncooperative, you're resentful, unforgiving, humiliated, degraded, feel hurt, lost respect for the aggressive tone person. You feel mistakes and problems are not reported to the aggressive person in case they blow up. You don't want to reach out to them no more because of how they are as an individual. As you see on the image on the right-hand side, this gentleman is just raising his hand. Like, I speak with my hand, I speak like with this, like flowy, but sometimes I do this, like, because it can help me in communication. But in this person, you can see his lady's body language backing off. And if I'm doing that and backing off, I have to recognize within my own stuff, I need to kind of slow my roll. And a lot of times they use tones like, you're crazy, or you make me sick, or this is not enough about you. And they can be very sarcastic too. They can be very threatening. They can blame. It's just not someone easy to be with. All right. So moving forward with passive aggressive. So this style can appear very positive. Appear very passive on the surface, but actually act on anger and indirect in a covert way. Individuals exhibit this style of communication are often resentful and unmotivated to determine the contribution made by others, even ends up negatively affecting their own situation. It's like cutting someone's nose and spitting in their face, kind of just throwing it back to someone's face. So reality is this, very rarely, but is also can be utilized appropriately when you're dealing with an aggressive communicator, when you need to kind of stop that person from the track. Like, hey, you're coming off too hot right now, slow down. When you feel like you're inefficient to disagree with their demands, sometimes when the aggressive tone person can just, demand, dominate. And sometimes you just feel like you can't say anything at all. And sometimes this is appropriate to kind of just throw it back to the face. Hey, you're coming off too hot right now. Relax. Let's talk about this. All right. So what are the 4 signs of passive aggressive personality? And, they themselves can't speak they can't or won't speak honestly about their feelings. They can come off, very insecure. They feel very neurotic, they're very emotional. They say, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. Reality is they're not fine. And then it may come off in ways that they're coming at you in certain ways. They purposely could exclude you from other things, like not putting you in emails, not sending you to party invites. They can feel very paranoid when around each other. They can take advantage of certain environment. They create a very toxic environment because you feel like you're unwanted from each other, but then you're very friendly with each other. So it's kind of confusing, right? They do small things to gain things in upper hand. So let's see, I'm trying to think of someone. Do small things of upper. So they assert themselves so they gain power. So what is it? What is a good example? For example, let's say maybe you share chores. Let's say they constantly put dishes in the sink and they expect you to do the dishes. That can come off as very passive aggressive. Oh, thank you for doing the dishes. Thank you for doing the dishes. And then low key laugh about it. Can build up animosity. It can come off as very passive, but be very friendly too. So it's kind of two-faced, right? So it kind of comes with the edge, right? They never give you genuine praise. They kind of just try to lie to you. It's almost toxicity, kind of kindness. Like, oh, you look great in that dress. The reality is they don't care about that dress. Then they talk bad about that dress. Congratulations on the promotion, but it should have been me, kind of thing, attitude. Let's say this. Like, congratulations on the promotion. You only got it because of your the diversity incentive or initiative. The reason why you got it because of your race, like things like that. They congratulate you, but then also belittle you. It's not a great thing to deal with, and it's something that we can recognize that comes off on a regular basis, unintentionally or intentionally, because of built up animosity. And that's something that we should recognize that, hey, this is something that I'm dealing with, and how can we deal with this? So when you are the recipient of dealing with someone passive aggressive, you feel angry and resentful. You feel as though that you're being undermined. You feel that you should retaliate in some way or form and teach them a lesson. Not always true, but there are some cases that is. Let me explain in this picture right here. Let me explain. I'm fine, whatever. I don't care. And then let's say that person starts acting a certain way towards you because they do care. Yeah, so that's tough. That's tough. All right. So submissive. All right. So what is submissive communication? An individual who is exhibiting submissive, also known as passive communication, behavior focused on pleasing others and avoiding conflict. Submissive communication can treat the needs and the rights of others as more important than their own, and then seek as a minimal part during a meeting or discussion. So kind of a person is very shy. Someone that you decide, you can pick, you can do what you want. I trust you. Things like that. They kind of keep peace. So when is appropriate to deal with when is appropriate to have submissive communication, to keep peace when a relationship is more important than the issue. However, when you're too submissive, it could cause more issues. So there has to be like a little nice cushion to be submissive sometimes, but then there's excessive submissiveness could cause a lot of issue for any relationship. So what are some characteristics of submissiveness? You being very apologetic. You feel as though you're imposing when you ask what you want, avoid any confrontation, feeling difficulty to take responsibility for a decision, feeling stuck of hopelessness, feeling resentful, needs are not being met, feeling like the victim, confused because they're being ignored or their own feelings, blaming others for the events, refusing compliments, inexpressive or feeling of desire. So, submissiveness. It's hard to not be submissive because sometimes you just want to avoid confrontation. And I'm not here to preach to anyone to not be submissive. It's nice. It is a nice characteristic to have in the arsenal, but it's also noted that you're also doing yourself a disservice if you're not really sharing your own wants and needs. It's important that you are able to adjust from this, because there are times it's nice to be submissive, but there's are times when it could be very damaging to your own self-esteem and confidence, right? if you continue to be submissive. And it's easy to be submissive. I know that it's hard to transition from any form of communication style, but it's noted that it's not best to stay at this style for a long time. Okay. Some examples saying like, oh, it's nothing. Oh, that's right. I don't want it anymore. No, you choose. Everything is fine. Those are pretty general examples, but those are the most common ones when used by someone who's very submissive. So manipulation style, we're not going to focus too much on this because it's very toxic behavior. So I only had one slide on this. But manipulation communicators exhibit skews and calculated behaviors to achieve the outcome that they need. They act to have their own strong influence skills and indirect power to which enables them to control others on their own advantages. Their spoken words hide underlying message of which the other person may be totally unaware. Recipients are likely to feel unwilling to engage with this person. They feel like they're being used, feel like they're unable to trust the person, avoid the person at all costs. Yeah, manipulation. I think hand in hand, people just twist words, able to say what they want to say and get what they want out of you. And it's not fun being this person, right? So on this last slide, I have a video in regards to teaching us how to enhance our communication style. And I want to note real quick is if you have a second to grab a pen and paper, there's 8 things that we're going to write down. And it's going to help you a lot to kind of enhance your current style. Like I said, every style has their own strengths and weaknesses, but we're also need to adjust from that approach, because you can't just stay one way forever, because scientifically, right, it's going to take a toll on your mental state. So we have to adjust. We have to express our needs. We have to be aggressive sometimes. We have to be submissive sometimes, depending on whatever your day-to-day life looks like, but we can't always just stay one way. So if you have a second, grab a pen and paper, please. And I'm going to wait for a few minutes. And I'm going to double check, make sure my audio is shared. Computer audio is shared. All right, so we're going to start the video now.
Hey, it's Min from The Art of Verbal War, where people learn to excel in verbal skills. Today's video is called Enhance Your Communication Style. We're going to touch on 3 things today. Number 1, we're going to help you figure out what your current communication style is. And then number 2, you're going to find out what researchers have found to be the most ideal communication style if you want other people to perceive you as a great communicator. And number 3, we'll finish up by talking about how to enhance your own communication style so that you can be perceived by others to be a great communicator. Now, researchers have come up with the concept of communication style, which is made up of 8 different elements that everyone has when they communicate. And the sum total of these 8 elements determines whether or not you are perceived as a great communicator. So here are the 8 elements of communication style. Number 1, friendliness. Do you come off as friendly or unfriendly when you communicate? Number 2, animation. When you speak, are you animated or are you rather stoic? Number 3, attention. Are you attentive or non-attentive to others? Meaning, do you listen to them? Number 4, argumentativeness. Are you someone who's argumentative with others or more accommodative? Number 5, drama. Are you dramatic or non-dramatic when you communicate with others? Number 6, openness. Are you an open book or are you hard to read? Number 7, emotional state. How relaxed or tense are you when you communicate with others? Number 8, dominance. How dominant or passive are you in your social interactions? Now pause this video, and with each of these elements, write down what are you? Be honest and tell me down below in the comments. Researchers have found that communication style is even more important than the content of words you say in terms of whether other people evaluate you as a great communicator or not. What this means is that you can use complex or very intelligent words or arguments when you speak, but without an engaging communication style, even the fanciest words will fall flat. Scientists have found that 3 of the 8 factors are the best predictors of whether other people will evaluate you as a good communicator or not. And these 3 factors are dominance, openness, relaxed emotional state. And which one was most important? dominance. And yet another study found that expressiveness was another significant factor in making an impression on others. So the moral of the story is that if you want to come off as a great communicator to other people, you want to focus on increasing your dominance, openness, expressiveness, and having a relaxed emotional state. So how do you do that? To increase your dominance, you need to start taking charge and being assertive in your social interactions. Don't expect others to drive your conversations. Lead them. You become more open, and I know this is hard for some of you. You need to just start being willing to reveal personal information about yourself when you communicate with others. And by doing that, people will come to see you as trustworthy. Becoming more relaxed means reducing or eliminating any outward signs of tension or anxiety. When you do that, it shows others that you're comfortable with yourself. And finally, become more expressive. Start using more exaggerations, more stories, using different rhythms, voices, and tones to highlight or understate what you're saying. And the other way is to use more metaphors when you speak. So there you go. Those are the 4 ways to enhance your communication style.
So after that, it just goes on to a bunch of ads in regards to his own workshops. So I want to thank the Art of Verbal War for this video. It's very insightful because it touches bases on how to be more assertive. So being style. Oh, we're gonna move forward to this. So here I have those 8 written down for us so that we can kind of measure within our own self. So moving forward, recognizing that what we can do to adjust our format of communication. Are we being friendly enough? Are we being animated enough? Are we putting attention towards the audience or the individual that we're talking to? Or are you looking away? You know, are we more argumentative? Are you dramatic enough? Are you open enough to share with people? Or are you feeling you're very closed off? How's your emotional state? Are you emotionally expressive? We talked about how this is one way that we could assert ourselves by being more expressive with our emotions. And dominance, you know, right in the sweet spot. You know, are you letting people know how you feel, sharing within yourself? So those are key factors that you could definitely adjust if you choose to do so, and recognizing, you know, where do you fall short from? What can you improve on within your own self? So as of lately, this is something that we can see oftentimes is that, you know, now that we are in a transition stage of, you know, working from home, are we becoming less friendly? Are we less animated? Are we less attentive? These are ongoing challenges that we're facing because our form of communication has changed a lot. So I hope that in today's workshop that we could see and hear and recognize where we need to adjust within our own self so that we can start practicing being more attentive, being more friendly, being more open, being more emotionally expressive, because these are key factors to, you know, increase our overall wellness so that people understand. Because if we did the opposite of all that, you know, it's hard to communicate. It's hard to understand who I present myself as a person. It's hard to, I come off as very closed off, come off as, you know, not relatable. And that's something that can really prolong your relationship with people and hold back your relationship with people to develop a more healthier lifestyle with healthier relationship with someone else. That being said, I hope that everyone here enjoyed the presentation. If you have any question at this time, I'll try to answer it. You know, I hope that this, you know, basic communication skill review was helpful to everyone. Hopefully that it's a good reminder that we are adjusting ourselves, and it's okay to be reminded of what we need to improve on so that we can communicate better to everyone else out there. Thank you for being here. Oh, I also want to slide in that we do have additional workshop this week. Please log in to go to UM-Dearborn CAPS, and you can see the following week of workshops that we're hosting for the rest of the week. Okay. So I'm gonna chill out here for about a minute or two, and if there's any question, then I'll stop the video. All right, see. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.